Liverpool are Premier League champions. We beat Spurs 5-1 at Anfield to secure a historic victory that crowns us champions with 4 games left to go. We are now top in terms of titles won, 20 with Manchester United. But we have the most Champions Leagues with 6 compared to United's 3. We have the most trophies won by an English team. We are the most successful and best club in England. And this title was the cherry on the cake. This title is historic. Our second ever Premier League title. A second title in 6 years. I cannot understate the significance of this achievement. Jurgen Klopp leaves as an icon of our club. And in comes Arne Slot. People said Arne who? People doubted him. People questioned us. We made no signings. But Arne Slot took that team to this level to win the Premier League. And win it in a very convincing fashion. Let me remind you, we are 15 points clear of Arsenal with 82 points. So we already have the same number of points as we had last season, with 4 games remaining. So if we win all of our games, we end up with 94 points, which would put Arne Slot as the second highest manager in terms of points in a debut season. But let's say we didn't win all our remaining games. Let's say we won 3, drew 1, drew 2. We would still have 90 or 92, maybe 91 points, even if we had only 88 points. That is still a top class season. To get 90 points is phenomenal. To be at that level of performance is quite exemplary. It's phenomenal. And to any people, of course, rival fans trying to belittle Liverpool's achievement and saying it's just a season where everyone dropped off, Liverpool were lucky. You can't explain a 15-point gap with luck. You can't say that the league was not competitive, because it was. There was a phenomenal battle going on right now for Champions League spots. The fact that other teams drop off is their own problem. We have done what we needed to do, which is not only win the league, but also do so in a phenomenal fashion. Winning so far 25 games, 7 draws, only 2 losses, 80 goals scored, 32 conceded, plus 48 goal difference. We have really run past everyone, destroyed the league. We have proved that we are not just a great team. We are an exceptional team who are going to end on a very strong points tally. And to see us win the league in front of our fans at Anfield, it was beautiful. Everything about today was beautiful. The game itself was fantastic. We performed very, very well. We'll get into the analysis of that later. The fans celebrating in the stadium, the fans outside the stadium, the fans all across the world, the fans celebrating on YouTube streams, everybody. This was a beautiful moment for Liverpool fans. You can see what it meant to everyone on the pitch, off the pitch, in the dressing room. You can see what it meant to the club, because this is historic. We've won our first Premier League title in 2020, but it was COVID. We could not really celebrate it properly in terms of having a moment where everyone comes together. Unfortunately, COVID did not allow that. But we have now got a chance to celebrate this league with our fans. And you can see how much it means to players. Alisson Becker was literally crying. Diaz was crying. Salah was having these fantastic moments with the fans, taking selfies with him and the fans. What a great way to celebrate, by the way. What a great way to celebrate. Takes a phone mid-game, takes a selfie, iconic moment right there. That will go down in history. That is literally a picture for history. Then you can see how much it meant for everyone else, for the manager. And by the way, respect to Arne Slot for then thanking Jurgen Klopp and singing Jurgen Klopp, la 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 la. A very classy act, by the way, by Arne Slot. A very classy act to essentially thank Jurgen Klopp for what he's done. A very, 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 very respectful gesture there by the Dutch manager. And by the way, first Dutch manager to ever win the Premier League. Van Dijk, the first ever Dutch captain to win the Premier League. It's phenomenal. Dominik Szoboszlai, the first Hungarian to win the Premier League. We've been exceptional this season. The players have been exceptional. The fans have been phenomenal. Everything has gone brilliantly. Of course, people might look at the fact that we got knocked out the cups, but ultimately, we forget that. In the moment of elation, in this moment of spectacular joy, I honestly don't care about the Champions League or the FA Cup or the League Cup, because the magic of this moment cannot be understated. To win the Premier League as a manager in your first season, in a season where everybody tried to write us off, they tried to belittle us. From the very beginning of the season, people were trying to criticize us and belittle us, saying that, first of all, Arne Slot is an underwhelming manager. We got lucky. Arsenal dropped off. They had injuries. City dropped off because there was no Rodri. Oh, Liverpool will stumble. We're going to stumble soon. But we never stumbled. We kept going. We kept going and plowed the entire Premier League in the most brilliant fashion possible. This is a brilliant moment for the club. It's a historic moment because now there's no denying we are the most successful club in English football history. And we are in a very strong position to win the league again next season. We've secured Van Dijk and Salah on 2-year deals, so they're going to stay. Van Dijk looks to be in top form. Salah scores a goal. By the way, he did not score for like a few games. 5 or 6 games he went without a goal. So people might start questioning, what about Salah? Well, today was a great day and he scores a great goal. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. And respect to Gakpo, fantastic goal by him. Diaz, McAllister. It was a beautiful performance in the footballing sense. Let's actually analyze the football game itself. So 5-1. That's a huge score, by the way. 5 goals is some way to win a league title. Because people have criticized Liverpool for being a bit boring or unimaginative, not very very strange comments towards Liverpool. Because, interestingly enough, we have scored the most goals, but somehow we're boring. But we won 5-1. That is literally a statement win. That is a way to just win the league with a statement. We're not just winning the league, we're winning it with fashion, style, and splendor. So, in the game, shots on target, we had 8, Spurs had 3. Shots off target, we had 8, Spurs had 3. 63% possession for Liverpool, 8 corners. Overall, it was a brilliant performance. Defensively, we looked phenomenal. That first goal, you thought, maybe there's some jeopardy here, right? Spurs score first goal, it's early in the game. Could something go wrong for Liverpool? After all, Spurs literally scored on the 12th minute. But then, 16th minute comes the answer. Luis Diaz, after a good assist by Dominic Szoboszlai, scores the first. Then, in quite quick succession, McAllister scores and then Gakpo. So by half-time, we're up 3-1, we're cruise control, we're literally powering through Tottenham, we're obliterating them in the midfield, we're winning in midfield. They can't do anything to our defense. By the way, respect to our defenders. Trent had a pretty decent game. I think he played well. Robertson played quite well. Kanati, Van Dijk, also solid performance. Alisson was good. No complaints whatsoever defensively. Despite that first goal we conceded, we still go on and crack on. That's what you do. As a Premier League champions, you have to have the right mentality. If something doesn't go your way, you don't give up. You don't start to get lost. No, you pick yourself up and you move on. That's exactly what we've done all season long. When we've had setbacks, we've had issues, we've had some problems, we've had disappointing results, we've always bounced back. Be that the Forest game at home, be that the Arsenal game where we drew, the United game, the wobble we had early spring, the Everton game where we drew in 2-2 in a very emotional game, getting knocked out the Champions League, the FA Cup, the League Cup. We always bounce back. And that's exactly what makes Premier League champions, is the ability to bounce back and perform admirably over the course of an entire season. So we played brilliantly. I think there's no denying it. Spurs were outclassed, outgunned in every single sense. There's literally nothing they could do whatsoever. The substitutions had very little impact, and yeah, I think there's little denying that Spurs had nothing there to show. And to be fair, they've got other priorities. I think they'll be focusing on the Europa League. The season's done for them completely. They are literally 16th place. It really doesn't matter for them. They only had it was very low. 0.37 XG for Spurs, 2.14 for Liverpool, which is interesting because obviously we scored 5 goals with only 2.14 XG. The goals were very nice, by the way. McAllister's finish with his left foot, his first Premier League goal with his left foot, that was a great goal. I think Salah had a fantastic goal, the way he cuts on the inside and puts it in that bottom corner. Brilliant finish. It was literally right in the corner. Vicario couldn't get to it. I think the Szoboszlai assist was very clever for Diaz. Made a very, very clever run. Pass to Diaz. Diaz scores. Another very clever, classic goal. Gakpo getting a goal, he was obviously, I think that was a fantastic season for both Gakpo and Diaz, scoring what I think Gakpo had 17 goals, Diaz has now probably also, I think, 16 or 17 goals. So I'm very happy for the whole team. It was a brilliant performance, and we could have scored more. Nunez had a massive chance at the end on a one-on-one, which he kind of messed up. He passed to Salah when he should have shot himself. Gakpo should have probably had another chance when he was literally right in front of the goal and he didn't score. But it doesn't matter because 5-1 is phenomenal. That is an absolutely phenomenal result. I was honestly predicting 4-0, but 5-1, 4-0 is pretty similar. But overall, what a result. What a result. And this is phenomenal. Now, of course, rival fans try to belittle this. They try to spin the narrative into a case of Liverpool only winning because no one else challenged them. The league is bang average. That's what you hear across many mainstream, across, for instance, on Talk Sports. You hear this also from pundits, from ex-players. You hear from other fans, from other fan channels, YouTubers. And ultimately, if you really think about it, this whole mentality of you only won because I lost is very stupid. It really is not an honorable mentality to have. If you don't win and your team doesn't win, credit the ones who won. We won the league fair and square. We have no 115 charges. We spent literally no money, no signings, apart from Chiesa for £30 million, who made 4 appearances this season. So explain to me, how is this league not impressive? New manager who had no experience in the top 5 European leagues. No signings, so you can't use the money argument. We've spent less money than Arsenal, less money than Man City, less money than Chelsea. So the money argument is gone. You can't use the argument of the manager because we have a manager who is literally in his first season going up against Pep Guardiola, who's done 4 in a row, and Mikel Arteta, who's been building for 5 years. You've got this new builder who's come in and built a mansion in his first season, as opposed to Arteta, who is still building the first floor even though it's already the 5th season. He still hasn't won a trophy literally since 2020. It's been 5 seasons and they aren't winning anything. Unless they, of course, win the Champions League. But we'll see. We'll see about that. That's a different conversation. But we've clearly been a great side. And in terms of the actual quality of football, well, as I said, we are going to be at least scoring high 80s, if not 90 plus points. So there's no denying we have a league. We have a proper point tally for a league win. It's not like we're winning the league with 74 points. 3 other teams have won the league with less than 80 points. For instance, Manchester United won it with 75. So to start claiming that Liverpool did a Leicester or something is ridiculous. We're winning the league with a very high points total that would win us a league in other seasons as well. It's not like we've had a season where we just about came on top of a group of terrible teams. No, we've been phenomenal. We've been phenomenal. And if Arsenal were indeed kind of doing better and pushing us to the line, most likely we would have had more points, not less. Typically, when you have kind of a team pushing you, you tend to push even more, which is what we've seen in previous title races, like last season when we came second to City 2 times. When you're pushing a team to the line, both teams kind of speed ahead. And on the contrary, we've been brilliant regardless of that. So I don't really think that matters. And the fact that Arsenal and City dropped off is their own problem because, you know, they had the money, they had the manager. Why don't you perform? Injuries? Well, look, injuries are part of football. It's a part of the sport. And Arsenal can't really fully blame the injury argument because why did they sell Nketiah, Smith Rowe, Lona, Reece Nelson, and Fabio Vieira? That's 4 players who contribute to your attack, all gone. And then you have that injury crisis in attack. So I don't really think that argument stacks up. If you had the injury crisis where 27 players were injured at the same time or something crazy, then even so, it doesn't matter. Arsenal's injury crisis wasn't even that bad. Last season for us was worse. We were literally playing a League Cup final with the vast majority of the first team squad gone. We were playing a final with kids. Arsenal never had to resort to that. And in terms of Man City, well, they spent 200 million euros in the winter. So even if Roger gets injured, you spend 200 million euros in the winter. So that's your problem if you can't do better with 200 million euros spent. We've literally signed no players at all. And it's a manager in his first season at Liverpool in the Premier League in any top 5 European league. So the managerial argument doesn't work. The points argument doesn't work. The spend argument doesn't work. The luck argument also doesn't work because, as far as I'm aware, I don't remember Liverpool getting 10 VAR decisions their way unfairly. It's not like a case of where there were so many incidents where we kept on having decisions go our way. On the contrary, I think it was probably more or less balanced. I can't think of any clear examples where there were so many games where we won the game because the other team got robbed. No, that's not the case. And in any case, 15 points is the gap. It's huge. You can't use injuries to explain a 15-point gap. Sure, maybe if it was 1 point, you could say Arsenal were unlucky. But no, it's 15 points. In fact, this is very interesting. We are on 82 points. Arsenal on 67. So Arsenal are 15 points behind us. And Arsenal are actually only 10 points ahead of Aston Villa, who are in 7th. So Arsenal are closer to 7th than they are to us. In fact, Arsenal are almost as close to Brighton in 9th with 51 points than us with 82. So the whole argument of Arsenal and being unlucky makes zero sense. They are miles away. I've heard the opinion that it's all because Arsenal didn't sign a striker. A striker doesn't bring you 15 more points, does he? It's not like Arsenal were going to sign prime Ronaldo. Arsenal never had the money for it. Arsenal at best had the money to sign Ollie Watkins or Ivan Toney, who of course would have probably given them a few more points, but would it make a gigantic difference? No. Do I think Arsenal would have won 5 more games with... So let's say for instance this. Would Arsenal have 6-7 results switch to wins just because of one striker? Probably not, because unless you're signing prime Ronaldo or something like that, I wouldn't expect Arsenal to be doing so well. And actually, Arsenal didn't have the money for that. They clearly weren't spending much in the summer. They didn't have that much money available. So that's how football works, right? You have a budget, you spend it accordingly, and clearly Arsenal decided that a striker was not needed. And that's their own problem. You can't now say, oh, you know what, Liverpool won the league, but it's only because Arsenal didn't sign a striker. Well, no, that makes no sense. With that logic, Liverpool could have signed a striker as well. We could have signed a centre-back, a midfielder. So if anything, if we start talking about money and spend, we could have spent even more money and probably had even more points and probably won even more trophies. So that makes no sense. Overall, we've been brilliant. The doubters have been proven wrong. We've played excellent football. We've got a fantastic system in place. We play creative football. We don't concede many goals. We score a lot of goals. We're very creative. Our forwards have done very well overall, I think. Salah, Gakpo, Diaz, very proud of them. Of course, the other forwards respect, but I think probably some forwards could do a bit better. Jota, Nunez, Chiesa. Obviously, we do know that Nunez will probably will leave. Chiesa will probably also leave. Jota might leave. But otherwise, it's been brilliant. The team has been phenomenal. I think there's no denying that. And of course, people will think about Trent and the fact that he's leaving. What does this say? I think ultimately, in a day like this, let's not think about Trent and leaving him, right? It's like, let Trent be who he wants to be. He's a Liverpool player right now. I'm not going to sit here when we've won the league and honestly think about Trent leaving Liverpool and start getting frustrated and saying, you know, what does he think? I don't care. We've won the league. We're all Liverpool fans. We all love Liverpool. Let's celebrate that. The question of Trent and him leaving Liverpool is another question for later. And I've always been clear on this. I am disappointed in the way he's leaving, but I don't care right now. Right now, it's about winning the league and celebrating. Of course, I want to do well in the upcoming games. I do want us to win our next few games. We've got some pretty interesting games. Playing Chelsea, then playing Arsenal. It'd be quite nice to get a guard of honour. It'd be quite nice if we beat Arsenal at home. Then we would obviously widen the gap. But not only widen the gap, but also I think it's quite a statement victory to not only beat Arsenal in the title race, but beat them at home. But it doesn't matter. We've won the league. It does not matter what happens next. So overall, congratulations to Liverpool. Congratulations to us. You will never walk alone. What a season. What a result. I'm speechless. Literally, I'm just completely stunned. I couldn't believe what happened. It's phenomenal. It's a magical moment for all of us Liverpool fans to finally experience the beauty of a league title win, not during COVID, and be able to celebrate in person. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful moment, I think, overall. I think there's no denying that this is a special moment. If you're a Liverpool fan or not, if you're a rival, if you hate Liverpool, doesn't matter. There's no denying that this is a special moment. A new manager walks through the door after Jurgen Klopp. He comes in, he slots in, wins the league title, gigantic 15-point gap. What a season. What a season. And of course, I expect more. Next season, it seems like we're in a very strong position. Salah and Van Dijk staying. Apparently a big transfer window coming in, which definitely makes me feel more positive. I've previously expressed my frustrations at FSG for the lack of spend, for not backing the manager, but I really do hope that this season will be a strong one, signing lots of players to properly prepare us for an upcoming very exciting year of football. I wish you all the best. See you soon. You will never walk alone.